you know, like I said earlier, high school is where you learn to be yourself and where you sort of grow into your own skin. And, a school like Stanstead allows you to do that to like the nth degree, right? So to the point where, you're very comfortable, you know who you are, you know where you're going in life. And if you don't, then you know where to start and you have people who can help you along the way.
I'm Glenn Herbert, and I'm an editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private schools to gain insights into their programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administrators. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
Okay. What did I appreciate most? I have to say the teachers, like looking back, I probably didn't appreciate them enough while I was there. And, you know, because, you never do. In hindsight, 2020. Um, but the teachers at Stansted are just, they were on a whole nother level. They, because not only did they care about you or not only did they care about teaching you, they cared about making sure that you understood what you were learning. They cared about you as a person. They cared about making you well-rounded. Every teacher was involved in every part of school life. They had to coach they had to coach a sport. They were part of a club, and every student had to be in a sport and a club. And so you get see all these different sides of all the teachers, and a lot of teachers even worked in the residences, and so you get to know them much more personally. If you need help, you can go to them like that. They really cared about making sure you could be the best person you were at Stansted and then grow into the best person you could be after Stansted. Yeah. So another one that I appreciate looking back, but I definitely did not enjoy while I was there, was mandatory sports. So every student has to join a sport, and there's three different sports terms. There's like fall, spring, or fall, winter, and spring. And you have to be in a sport, and there's competitive sports like where you go to travel to other schools and compete with them, or there's some intramurals where you stay on campus and just be active. And it was tiring. There was never a down moment at Stansted, but looking back, it's it's incredible that they carved out that time for us, because now that I'm in college and I'm sure you've heard of like the freshman 15. You eat a lot in college, and it's hard to find time to remain active and stay on top of that sort of thing while you're also focusing on all the academics. So even though I'm not the most sporty or most athletic person, but um, getting the chance to do sports, I did cross country and I did swimming and then I did softball, and getting to do all those was so much fun. And I really missed it because like the last year, we didn't have a spring sports semester because COVID. We all went home, and I'm really like, it's kind of upsetting to miss it. And I like that's when I started really realize that I'm like, dang, this is a pretty good deal we got going here. And now I'm not I don't get to be with it again. But like the athletics, and then so I said wasn't a down moment. So on top of the athletics, there's also the clubs, which go I think every Thursday, if that's still how they do it. And they are same thing with the teachers. It's you're involved. You don't have you're always doing something. There's never a point in Stansted where I would stop and be like, man, I'm bored. I have nothing to do. It was always go, go, go. And that sounds kind of intimidating, but it was really, you know, really fun, and really, um, it really helped with, being a well-rounded person and growing into your own skin sort of thing, which is the whole point of high school and and stuff like that. I've already mentioned this, but I think I've gotta say the teachers again, because the faculty and their involvement in the school is really, you know, one of a kind. I've been to a couple of schools and I've never seen them so like involved and so much like have so much care for the students. Um, but also I think another big thing it has is its location. So it's a beautiful campus and it's in the middle of nowhere and right across the border um, in Quebec. And it's an incredible campus. Like when I was talking about uh, stargazing in Vermont, you could do that at Stanstead too, because you've got the same sort of scenery, and it's gives you like a taste of the home away from home life that you start to get into in college and university. And it like that's something that if I had gone to any other school, I don't know if I would have gotten. Almost almost like tough love, like that weird uncle or weird like father who, you know, get like rustles you up a little bit, but they're doing it to turn you into a better person and like toughen you up. And it sort of deep down, they're like a teddy bear, right? They really care. They really want to see you succeed. And the way they go about it, you know, runs you through the ringer a little bit, but it's all, to make you a better person and to give you what you need in life. It's definitely something that you come to realize. It's a very intimidating um, place to like to be a freshman at. I don't know if it's called, if you would call it freshman, because it starts in grade 7, but it's a very intimidating place to start at. It's a lot. It seems like a lot on your plate, like the mandatory sports and the clubs and the workload, and it can feel very weighing down. And for a lot of kids, it's also their first time away from home. And that's just another, challenge that you've got to face. But overcoming those hurdles and learning from them and becoming better from them is what makes Stansted great. And so even though it feels intimidating and it feels scary and it feels like there's no way you can do this, you've got to, Stansted's really about sticking with it and powering through it. And eventually, like it pays off. It really does. So there were definitely, you know, a couple like common groups. So, there were the hockey teams were really close, and some of the basketball teams were really close. People within their own houses, because I think there's 4 different dorms. They're all really close, but it goes further than that. And like within each grade, within each class, even you get to know people and you get to like become really close with them. And my favorite example of this is at the dining hall, because you'd have the table of the one friend group and then another friend group, and then the table that I would sit at. And it became somehow like we always thought we were the rejects, but it turned out we were the majority of the school, and we would end up taking up like 2 or 3 tables and everyone would come sit down. And the common thing with us, quote unquote, rejects, which I don't think that's the right word. We were just our own thing. Um, and the common thing was just that we accepted, like we didn't care about what anyone was. We just were all there hanging out, chilling. There was no judgment. There was you know, no ostracization, right? Everyone had a place and everyone could be who they want to be. So like our table at the dining hall, everyone there who sat there was someone either, they were new, they didn't know who else to sit with, or they didn't feel comfortable sitting with anyone. And, we would grab them in, pull up a chair, include them in, and it's very diverse. That was a big thing. So everyone was unique. People came from all over the world, and that really led to, you know, that accepting atmosphere. Yeah. So that ties in nicely with what we just said, the diversity and the acceptance and being accepting of everyone, regardless of anything, race, gender, sexual orientation, anything like that. The school was super about acceptance and about inclusion. And moreover, I think it's really about preparing you for life. There's stuff with resumes, there's stuff with in the houses to prepare you for dorm life in college and university. And there's stuff with there was even etiquette training at like the dining hall. Everyone loved that. Everyone loved that. Um, and it was really about making you the best you can be. And that diversity stuff and the inclusion stuff, I think that really ties into being the best you can be, because you are at your best when you're helping others be at their best. And if Stanstead helps you help others, then they're really helping you help yourself. I definitely think students will be surprised by how busy they are. Every student before me said, "Oh, you're going to be busy. You're not going to have free time." Um, I I thought I listened. I didn't listen enough. It's very busy, and something that so yeah, that's something that students will be surprised about is how little downtime there's. And by downtime, I don't mean, free time where you can hang out with friends. By downtime, I mean like when you're doing nothing, because you're always hanging out with your friends at this school because you live with them, and you're in class with them and you're at sports with them. And so in terms of there's no boring minute. And that's something that it's like really hard to get across with words. And that's why a lot of incoming students are so overwhelmed. Um, but then on the other hand of that, something that I think a lot of parents are surprised about is once students overcome that hurdle, how little they dislike it, how much, or rather, I should word that as how much they enjoy it. And so parents will, they'll either they'll hear great stories back, and they'll imagine how or think or get calls about how much fun they're having. Like my brother had a horrible first week. He was not happy. He wanted to go home. And then the next month, my parents didn't even hear from him, except, saying goodnight at the end of the night. He was just everywhere all at once, having a blast. And, it's for parents, it's, I guess, comforting to hear that your children are having fun when they're, not right by your side. Um, but it can be surprising when, you go a day or two and they're everywhere, and they're got so many stories, so much to do, so much on their plate. And it makes you, and as a student, it makes you kind of um, satisfied, I guess. It's sort of satisfying that, you know, you're always doing stuff and you're always getting stuff done. Well, absolutely. Um, Everything will shape who you are. But do I think it shaped me for the better? Even more, absolutely. Because, you know, like I said earlier, high school is where you learn to be yourself and where you sort of grow into your own skin. And, a school like Stansted allows you to do that to like the nth degree, right? So to the point where, you're very comfortable, you know who you are, you know where you're going in life. And if you don't, then you know where to start, and you have people who can help you along the way. And so does it do I, still nowadays in college, I'll think back and I'll be like, oh, this was something from Stanstead in the dorms. I'll be like, yep, we did this. Or, yep, you know, someone told me about this. This happened before. It's really great at getting you on track for life. The only thing that I can, or at least that I can think of at the moment, that I disliked and that I would have wished I could have changed is not being able to try everything. So like every club, I think I was in predominantly community service, TEDx, and then this last year I was going to be in the play, but the play didn't happen. So those were the three like main clubs I was in. Oh, and jazz band. Those are the four main clubs I was in. But there were so many others that I wish I could have tried. There was a robotics club I would have loved to spend more time at. There was I think a fencing club at one point. There was a chess club, a board games club, a debate club. All these things I would have loved to have been a part of if I had more time. And it's the same thing with the sports. Like I said, I'm not an athletic guy, but even though I loved I did cross country, doing some of the other spring sports would have been great. Like um, the intramural for the fall semester was called outdoor pursuits, and you would go out like hiking and stuff. And then in the winter, I would swim. But there was also stuff like hockey and cross country skiing that would have been awesome to experience, even just for one term. And in the springs, I did softball, and it would have been great to experience tennis, or a lot of people wanted me to try rugby. I would have snapped like a twig, but um, just being able to have more experiences. And then my personal favorite, because I'm a very nerdy kid, is not being able to do every class under the sun, because I love learning and I love um, learning new stuff I'm not familiar with. So I'm aerospace engineering. So in high school, or in my senior year, grade 12, I had to do calculus, physics, chemistry, statistics, all the math science-based courses. And those were my favorite courses. But I would have also loved to have done philosophy, or biology, or history, things like that, where you know you've got this focus that what you're trying to do in life, but branching out and learning other things is also incredible. Oh, and a big one is also going into more music. um, that's something that's actually great about Stansted, is the grades, I think it's 7 through 9, you have to choose, or you have to do music and visual arts. And then in grade 10, you can choose between them. And then in grade 11 and 12, it's only if you want to go into it further. And with both of those, music and visual arts, I've done it in the past. Like I used to draw and I used to play instruments, and I'd sort of fallen off because I've run out of time to do everything. But I would love to have, had that chance to do it again and flesh it out and learn more about it, because I'm still, I casually draw. I don't know anything about drawing theory. I casually play the trumpet. I don't know anything about music theory. But I do know a lot about math and science. So broadening horizons is an important thing. And it's something Stansted definitely gives you the ability to do, but it's something that, only to a certain extent, right? You only have so much time in the day. We can't all be Hermione Granger with a time turner to take all the classes. So that would have to be like my one dislike, and my one thing I wish I could change was being able to do more, which is kind of crazy to say thinking back, because I was already doing so much and my plate was so full. And I'm like, yeah, what if we had more? So that just shows how what it leaves you like. Yeah, I remember very strongly in grade 12 sitting in AP chemistry and AP physics, and well, not in class, but doing the homework and studying for tests and being like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? This is awful. I don't like this. Why I don't like doing the work. It's so much work, stuff like that. And now in college, I'm like, oh, I don't have to do those classes, you know, which is at the college level, they're much more difficult. Like Georgia Tech's chemistry class is notorious for failing students. Um, but then I also look back at Stanstead and I remember all of those late nights where we would be doing, let's say, AP Physics. Our AP Physics class was very small. I think there was 5 of us. And so we would all get together in one of our dorm rooms and we would all be working on it together, figuring out these problems. And then this is, remembering fondness. You have all this hard work, but then at a certain point, we would just call it a night and play Lego Star Wars on the Wii. You know, it was very much work hard and play hard. You get to put in the effort, put in the time, and then you get the reward at the end. And that's something that I'm realizing, like that's what I realize as I grow older is I've put in the time and now I'm getting that reward back. I'm getting the play hard afterwards. One, to become a well-rounded person. And by that I mean exploring all of these different opportunities they give you and taking advantage of experimenting and discovering new things. And through that, you become a more well-rounded person. Even if you don't stick with something, you learn new things and you become a new person. Two, for the experience, you even no matter I think almost no matter how your Stansted years go, you'll look back on them with fondness. And that's something that I heard from other alumni while I was still in school. And I was like, man, those guys are crazy. But it does come true, right? You remember all the good times and the bad stuff you sort of realize didn't really matter. So the experience makes it's a great memory to have, great to think back and be and think of fondly. And then last, this is more of an overarching or more of a, I guess, less overarching, more specific, but to prepare you for college and for life as you go forward, because that's really what it is. Like it's a prep school and it's to prepare you for what's coming. And something my AP Physics teacher said a lot is it's a lot about front loading the pain. So you work hard now. And like I said, work hard now, play hard later. And it's a lot about exposing you to these things that normally you wouldn't be exposed to until college, right? Like living in a dorm away from home. A lot of people at Georgia Tech, they're away from home for the first time because they've never had the opportunity to do so before. College is their first time out of the house, like on their own. And it's Stanstead's goal to expose you to those things early on and make you aware of them and know how to deal with them and be a better independent person. So that was the 3 things were to become well-rounded, to have the experience, and then to be prepared for life as it comes swinging at you. I guess I have to say, have faith, believe in the school and believe in your kid, because you're going to get those calls that are like, I want to go home and I want to go away from this place and I'm not having fun. And it's really hard to stick with it. Like my mom was telling me how my brother would call, she would be like, I just want to go pick him up, bring him home. I hate to see him unhappy. But that's what, like, you've got to be able to see past that and realize that this is just the small hurdle you've got to overcome for like the big reward. And it's very much you've got to put your faith in the people of Stanstead and in the community that it forms, and trust that it works, because it does, and you, people do enjoy it, even though it may not seem like it at first. Okay, this is the sort of the other side of what I just said to the parents, but it's to stick with it. You got to persevere, and you've got to have grit, and you've got to be able to dig in your feet for the long run and not turn away and give up. And it's got to be keep moving forward is it's one of my favorite lines from Meet the Robinsons. Keep moving forward. And that's something that, you know, it's something that Stanstead prepares you for, and it's something that life will throw your way throughout the entire rest of your life. Um, and it's about facing, feeling like you can't go on anymore, like you're done and you can't deal with this, and sticking with it anyways. And that's what a lot of people feel like in the first week. So to a new student, I'd say stick with it, keep moving forward, don't give up. It does get so much better, and it's a great time, and you're going to enjoy yourself.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.